So many of you know that I'm an advocate and I'm an investigative outcome specialist. I've been working in courts across our country, helping people get their children back and helping people prove that they are experiencing systematic abuse. I am advocating for a mother named Erin Wallace. Erin Wallace resides in Florida, and she has an 18-year-old son named Mark Wallace, who was put in her custody. He has Down syndrome, and he will have Down syndrome for the rest of his life. He is on financial assistance with disability due to the Down syndrome. A judge ordered that he stay with his mother and allow the father visitation. The judge that allowed visitation didn't even look at the evidence that the father has child abuse charges against him from where he abused his own son. And then they also wouldn't look at the fact that these people are completely not trustworthy. So some dumb judge decided to allow these people to be in this young man's life. And then when they were in Florida, they decided, you know what? On this visitation for 3 weeks, we're not going to bring him back. That same morning, Erin was getting Mark ready for that visitation. He told his mom he didn't want to go several times. He cried. He said, I don't want to go. They're not going to bring me back. She followed the court order and they didn't bring him back. So how come they get to go off and have guardianship of him and they go unpunished? It's unethical. It is systematic abuse. The Georgia judge, Angela Woodall, in the probate court for Dallas, Georgia, where the father and stepmonster reside, didn't even look at the evidence of child abuse, didn't even look at the fact that the father owes over $55,000 in child support. She also did not give the mother of this individual due process, so she violated the mother's rights and she has violated Mark Wallace's rights. She has violated his disability acts, she has violated his rights as a vulnerable individual, and she has violated his rights as a child that deserves to have equal parenting with both parents. This court order removed him from his mother's place and put him with his father, and this is unethical. The father is abusive. He owes over $55,000 in child support. So why isn't Georgia making him pay? Why isn't Georgia making him pay? And he has a company. He admitted it in court. Meanwhile, he commits tax fraud, tax evasion, because that's what you do when you pretend you don't work and you've got somebody else who has your company. Yeah, in their name. Yeah, that's called tax evasion, bro. Go to jail for that. Go to federal prison for that, bro. State and fed, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, y'all go to court, y'all tell all these lies, and then you publicly go on Facebook and try to talk nasty about Erin because she is experiencing maternal bond severance disorder. Meanwhile, Mark goes from being happy and giggly to being almost nonverbal with his mother, looking around at who's listening to him, because who in the world is coaching this child? You're doing a horrible job. He literally looks around in those visitations looking for you guys. It's abusive. You do know those visitations can be analyzed, right? You might want to be careful. Oh, and TikTok, if they try to report this video, just be mindful. You allowed my videos to be removed because I showed their faces and mentioned their names, but there's tons of people on here mentioning faces and names that you don't take down their videos. So if you want to take down this video, I'll be reaching out to your legal team. And I'm going to make sure that anybody else who's upset about any of my removals reaches out to your legal team too, because we can come on here and advocate about people. The biological father and the stepmonster of this young man, they are the ones that are the wrong. They think the court order is a suggestion. They withheld this young man from court-ordered visits. They refused to bring him to the meeting points where he's supposed to meet his mother and go with her. And it's because they're afraid mom will get guardianship again in Florida because they know what they did is illegal. You guys are playing with this young man. Do you know what happens to people with Down syndrome when you take them from the people they've known their entire lives? They go down, buddy. They go down. And they get really, really bad off. They start gaining weight, you know, like the 50 pounds Mark has very clearly gained since he's been in your care. You also didn't put him in school, so he missed his sophomore prom. He missed his sophomore prom, his senior prom, and he didn't even get to graduate with his class. He missed out on all those memories because you guys just had to steal him. That's what you did. You stole him. You are utilizing the fact that everybody in Dallas, Georgia knows everybody. Well, that ain't going to matter much sooner when we get the Supreme Court involved. That ain't going to matter much sooner when the DOJ policy advisors take all these emails we've been sending and start investigating the Dallas probate court and Judge Angela Woodall. I made sure to attach a DOJ policy advisor's email address to her email address when I emailed her all of the BS going on in this case and all of the rights that are being violated. So, Paulding County, y'all have got some work to do, and don't even get me started on the case about Heather Turner. Heather Turner lived in Dallas, Georgia, and her case is 8 years old, and they still haven't released anything to the public. Her husband was abusive, and she didn't want to be with him, but his mama worked for the probate court, and he could get his way. He ignored any restraining order, and when he found out on May 3rd that she was leaving him, guess what happened on May 4th? Pow! And they said, oh, it was a suicide. So they didn't even investigate the husband. But now it's been open for 8 years because they're investigating the husband, and he's so mad. Well, Andy Turner, if you would have allowed them to treat you like the usual suspect and investigate you properly to begin with, maybe you wouldn't be going through this right now. So Paulding County Captain Brent Miller of the Sheriff's Department, you want to know what he told my client? That, oh, we don't know what to tell you concerning court orders from a judge. Oh, we just don't want to get involved. By law, you have to get involved. Well, we don't know whose order is right. So you can't read with those two eyes and those two brain cells that you have left to rub together and figure it out? Look at the signature. Look at the judge's signature. Look at the date on the paper, whichever one is most recent. Or, here's a thought. Call the judge. You do absolutely nothing to resolve the situation. You are abusing a young man with Down syndrome who hasn't spent any time with his mother or his family in Florida in 20 months. You are abusing him. So now, Captain Brent Miller and the sheriff and the entire department of the police department in Paulding County, they're going to be involved in this lawsuit too. They're going to be involved in all of it. And I'm so excited to bring it all here to you. By the way, don't forget to catch my Misfit Saints podcast tomorrow night. We're going to have Erin on to talk about her case because it is her right as a parent of a disabled and vulnerable individual to come and talk about the systematic abuse that she is experiencing from Paulding County, Georgia, and from the attorney that his biological father and stepmonster hired. Oh yeah, their attorney in Georgia is also a magistrate judge. Talk about a conflict of interest, just more red flags being raised. But that's okay. We've taken the necessary steps and made the proper reports to the proper entities. And we're still making reports every day. I also want to say one more thing. I have been bullied and harassed by the stepmother and her family and friends. They make multiple TikTok accounts, some with Mark's name and photo on them, but they have his followers privatized, which is hilarious considering that Mark doesn't get on social media and talk to any of his family or any of his friends. So it's you operating behind a disabled individual's name and picture. It's not him. You guys do this all the time to anybody that tries to come and tell the public about you. You guys have a big family and you're close-knit, probably because you can only deal with each other and nobody else wants to deal with you. But you do not get to come and bully and harass an advocate, an investigative outcome specialist, because you don't like the truth that I'm telling. They run and they tell everybody that we're lying. Meanwhile, they're telling people that Mark doesn't get an SSI check. What Down syndrome person doesn't get an SSI check? Especially if a court says they still need guardianship. Make them make sense. They lie about a lot of things. They have used the police and weaponized them against Mark's mother so she couldn't pick him up. Even after Mark's mom put a restraining order against the stepmom, and the restraining order even said that the police had to go pick Mark up and bring him to his mother at the police station or some marked meetup spot. The police still said, "Oh, we don't know what to do." So anybody who's giving out court orders in Paulding County, your court order don't mean jack because anybody can break it. Sounds to me like Paulding County needs a new sheriff and a new captain. Throw the whole state away.